Ted Bundy or Adolf Hitler.
And committed history's deadliest killing spree.
Who did this? Who is behind this? Where did the hatred come from?
The 22nd of July 2011, Norway. A Scandinavian country admired for its landscape, high living standards, and for having one of the lowest murder rates in the world. In the capital city of Oslo, the day had begun like any other.
Well, Billy went looking
22nd
for
of July
turbo.
is in the middle of the main holiday in
now
Norway.
he's in prison.
And of course the weather was pretty bad, as it always is. But it's still summer, so most of the people were actually at holiday. Pretty normal summer's day in Norway, actually.
We were in the office, and it was quite a busy Friday. We were all looking forward to the weekend.
At 3:18 p.m, a white van is captured on CCTV, parking next to Norway's government headquarters. Its driver is 32-year-old Anders Breivik, and cameras record him leaving the scene, armed and dressed in police-style uniform. Minutes later, at 3:26 p.m, the country would be changed forever as the world's worst killing spree began.
Og det var meldt om masse regn, og hørte jo da et voldsomt drønn. Jeg begynte å lure på om det kunne være tordenvær som hadde satt inn, men det var det ikke. Jeg hørte det var en veldig spesiell.
Both Samantha and Christopher emerged for the house. He confronted them.
That's it, all done.
He immediately shot Christopher.
For lockdown.
Khan murdered and maimed in a vengeful rampage.
You would have seen at least one policeman at any time, full body armour, gun, the lot.
For 7 days, the former bouncer evaded over 500 officers.
We had no idea where he was, and this man still had his gun.
Sending a wave of terror through rural Northumberland.
I thought, I'm sure to be next. At this rate, I was just petrified.
But what caused this father of three to snap and embark on a deadly killing spree?
There's really only one way it's going to end.
I'm coming to get you. I'm not on the run. I am coming to get you.
Right, that's gone a bit cold. I'm going to put the heating on. Oh, yeah, that's why it's cold. It's dropped to 16. Heating's on. I'll leave it on anyway, dry that paint off. Got to dry that clear coat off. Put that power supply back together.
The 3rd of July, 2010, Newcastle upon Tyne,
I've got
England.
to find a set of fans for
A
that.
city known for its industrial past and vibrant
This
nightlife.
is what's going in your.
Over the years, Newcastle has acquired a real reputation as a party city. It's incredibly popular with
Except your
stag
pipes
do's
will light
and
up.
do's, and it's a really
This is all
vibrant
going in
nightlife.
yours, all this is. I bought
It's
it
got a
all, didn't I?
reputation
It's
of being
just
a
sat
very
there.
friendly place, and it's the
Get
sort
it
of
done.
city where you will run into the same people in the same pubs and clubs.
By no means a crime hotspot. In fact, it's a really safe area to live. So
That's
to
a bit of a
experience
belt.
what we experienced in July
That's the side of
2010
the belt, so you look where
was
the side of the
where
belt
the
is, same
normal
as that.
for this area.
Is.
As Friday night became
I mean, all
Saturday
these
morning,
bits are belt.
revellers filled
So that's the
Newcastle's
back end
clubs
where
and
the glass
bars,
is.
unaware that just 7 miles away, one party was about to come to a tragic
That's
end.
that belt up there. That is. Right up here.
2:30 a.m. Bertley.
So that's that one. So it's right up
The
there.
sound of
that is.
gunfire was about to ring out
Yeah, well, not
through the
that
quiet
far
residential
up, yeah.
streets.
It's not that far away.
Following a night out at a local bar, Samantha
that
Stubbart and
piece you were
Christopher
looking for.
Brown visited a friend's
Yeah,
house.
I've been looking for
Samantha
that.
and her new boyfriend Christopher were enjoying a social evening with her parents and friends.
The young couple
Oh,
were
looking for
unaware
that.
that an armed man with deadly intent was hiding in wait outside. As their evening drew to a close, Samantha and Christopher prepared to leave.
When both Samantha and Christopher emerged for the house, he confronted them.
Sorry, that was my head.
He immediately shot Christopher in the upper body.
Yeah, hello
and then as
everybody.
Christopher tried to run away,
Sorry,
he shot him a
That was me.
second time.
me head.
While he was lying injured, he reloaded the gun and shot a defenceless, injured Christopher on the ground.
The third shot proved to be fatal.
He then turned his attention to Samantha, who was by this time inside the house, and he fired a shot through the window, and then he calmly walked away.
With one dead and another critically injured, local journalist Sophie Doughty was one of the first to report on the deadly spree.
The 3rd of July in 2010 was a normal Saturday shift for us, or so we thought when we came in. We rang around the emergency services, got caught up with anything that had been happening overnight, and told us that there was an incident going on in Bertley. When police started releasing details, they described it as a domestic disturbance. When we got to the scene, local people were telling us that a man had been released from prison, come out there, shot his ex-girlfriend and shot her new partner. As the morning wore on, we were asking people, do you know who her ex-boyfriend was? And the name Ralmo was mentioned.
Born on June the 17th, 1973, Raoul Thomas Moat had an unstable childhood.
He's always been looking for his dad from being young, and his mum would never say who his dad was.
He said a lot that he lacked a father figure, he lacked a standard, normal family life.
His early years were further complicated by his mother's mental health issues.
His mum was never there. He was always living with his gran. She used to show him all like the good qualities of life and look after him. He idolised her, and that was his main big happy zone.
His mother remarried in 1986, and Raoul Moat's teenage years were marked by a fractious relationship with his stepfather.
His stepdad didn't like Raoul too much and used to be off with him all the time. I don't even think that his mum was really looking after him too well either. So he was getting a bit more withdrawn.
At the age of 24, Moat severed contact with his family, and after a series of failed relationships, met Samantha Stobbart in 2004.
The one thing that Raoul Moat was desperate to have was a stable family life. The one thing he didn't have as a child. And this he thought he would get with Samantha Stobbart.
But their 6-year relationship broke down in 2010 when Moat was imprisoned for the assault of a relative. The 1st of July 2010, 11 a.m. Her Majesty's Prison, Durham. Moat was released after serving just over 2 months of a 16-week sentence, devastated by his broken relationship with Samantha Stobbart.
That time in prison gave him time to think. His jealousies were emphasised, his feelings of mistrust towards Samantha were amplified. Immediately
after being granted his freedom, he began to meticulously gather supplies for an attack and armed himself with a sawn-off shotgun, modifying the ammunition to make it even more lethal.
A normal shotgun cartridge would contain an amount of ball bearings on top of the explosive charge. Moat removed a portion of those ball bearings and packed in smaller items of metal in there. And I guess his mindset behind that was to cause maximum damage.
At 2:40 a.m. on the 3rd of July, just 48 hours after his release, Moat put his plan into action, gunning down his ex-girlfriend Samantha Stobbart and her new partner Christopher Brown. On the surface, a vengeful attack by a jilted lover, but deep down, a festering resentment remained, and Raoul Moat's bloody spree was just beginning.
Lost everything through you. I'm coming to get you. I'm not on the run. I am coming to get you.
The 3rd of July 2010, Bertley, Tyne and Weir,
I've got a bit
watched over by the iconic Angel of the North. Overnight, this small town had become the scene of a violent crime. Less than 48 hours after being released from prison, 37-year-old Raoul Moat had shot his ex-girlfriend Samantha Stobbart and murdered her new boyfriend Christopher Brown in a deadly killing spree. Moat had met Samantha 6 years earlier in 2004. He was a 31-year-old bouncer working in Newcastle's thriving club scene. She was just 16 years old.
She had fake ID to get in because she was underage. And then he just met her from there, and that's when he started meeting her, and he just seemed to fell in love with her.
He was a bodybuilder, so he used to wear these cut-out vests that showed everything off. So, yeah, he was really proud of his muscles, and he thought he looked great. She was young, she was good-looking, she had a fantastic figure, and he was a lot older than her, and I think all his birthdays had come at once because he'd met her.
But just listen to what they're saying, because I remember this as if it was yesterday, and then it was a year that
After 6 years
met.
together, Samantha gave birth to a baby girl, and Moat became a father once more, having also won custody of 2 daughters from a previous relationship.
I think being a father was very important to Raoul. It was something that he aspired. He aspired to be a good father. He had children from previous relationships to Samantha, and things hadn't worked out there. He hadn't achieved the perfect family.
He had difficult, fractious relationships with girlfriends. He had difficult relationships with his children. And he had an incredibly difficult relationship with Samantha Stobbart. He was a big character, he was a big figure, he was intimidating.
Moat has admitted to domestic violence in previous relationships, specifically with Sam Stobbart. He did that in a way where he portrayed her as being provocative, as if Sam made him do it. And this is something we see very commonly with domestic violence perpetrators.
It was always Samantha's fault. Samantha shouldn't agitate him, or Samantha shouldn't do this, or he would hit her, she would come over here, and then he would come over here and sweet talk her, and she'd go back, and then she would be back for a few months, and he would have an argument, and he'd hit her again, so she was back again.
They position themselves to be the victim of emotional abuse or provocation, and they say they lash out because they tried to be reasonable, they'd done everything else they could. Yet again, this is just an example of a narcissist manipulating the truth.
On the 10th of June 2010, whilst he was behind bars, Samantha took the opportunity to put a definitive end to her abusive 6-year relationship with Moat, fabricating a story that her new partner was a police officer.
When Moat shot and killed Chris Brown at point-blank range, Moat was still of the belief that Chris Brown was a police officer.
Christopher Brown wasn't a police officer. That was simply something Samantha had used to try and keep Moat away.
He was a karate instructor, and he was delivering leaflets round the doors when she met him.
He just seemed like a normal lad who was trying to make a go of it, and his only sort of mistake, if you can call it a mistake, was he started a relationship with Raoul Moat's estranged girlfriend.
She thought that by telling him her new boyfriend was a police officer, it would persuade Raoul to keep his distance. She couldn't have picked a worse profession in the world. He had a long-running hatred and paranoia about the police, and this was yet another way in which he thought the police had taken something away from them.
Moat had a history of dealings with Northumbria police.
The vendetta he thought the Northumbria police had against him stretched back many, many years.
He basically
largely based on
had
fairly minor incidents.
hatred towards the cops for what he's been doing throughout his adult life.
Sick of it. He says, every time I pull into a petrol station and there's a policeman there, they stop us.
Or they'll just pull him over, they'd check his fuel, they'd check his tyres. It was just like a non-stop harassment, so he was always on edge.
He became very paranoid about the police. His house had CCTV cameras around it. He recorded all his phone calls with social services and with the police.
He blamed them for his businesses going bust. He blamed them for constantly being harassed.
I said, well, they must have some reason. He says, I've never done anything.
I think for Moat that was his default setting. When something didn't go right in his life, he blamed the police.
And he only had one route left to take in his eyes, which was to take revenge.
29 minutes past midnight, July the 4th, less than 24 hours after the shootings in Berkeley, Raoul Moat made a chilling phone call to the communications centre at Northumbria Police Headquarters.
Hello there, this is the gunman from Berkeley last night. My name is Raoul Moat. What I'm phoning about is to tell you exactly why I've done what I've done, right? Now, my girlfriend has been having an affair behind my back with one of your officers, this gentleman that I shot last night.
Northumbria Police had received one phone call from Raoul Moat, effectively making full admissions to shooting Christopher Brown, admissions to shooting Samantha, but more worryingly and sinister, declaring an effective war, if you like, on Northumbria police officers.
And you police have took too much off me over the years. I'm coming to get you. I'm not on the run. I am coming to get you. I've lost everything through you, right? Just won't leave us alone, right? Because I am hunting for officers now.
Earlier that evening, Traffic Officer PC David Rathband was starting his late shift, with the force under heightened alert for the spree gunman from the previous night.
Poor guy.
David was a very proactive police officer. He completely understood the job. It's what he wanted to do. It was his calling, I think.
45 minutes past midnight. Moments after Moat's phone call to the police, PC Rathband was sitting in his patrol car, unaware that his life was about to be turned upside down.
David had decided to sit up on the A1, one of his favourite stopping points, to sit up somewhere where it's very busy, where there's a high volume of traffic coming past, and waiting. That's what it all comes down to, playing the waiting game. Then maybe that opportunity for that vehicle, that one vehicle you're looking for, will come past. Unfortunately for David, that night it did.
PC Rathband was unaware Moat had changed vehicles and was now travelling in a black Lexus.
The vehicle he was expecting or hoping to see had been dumped earlier on that day. That intelligence hadn't got out yet, and so David was effectively sat there waiting, looking for something that wasn't going to come past. The individual he was looking for did, though, in another car, and that's when it all went horribly wrong.
Just moments after making his call to the emergency services, Moat's threat to the police became a brutal reality as his sickening spree continued.
Moat, it transpires, drives past and sees David sat in his police car on his own, and decides to stop just on the on-slip for the motorway.
He got out and, carrying a sawn-off shotgun, he crept up to a marked police car. PC Rathband was aware that somebody was behind his car. He turned, looked, and saw this large man holding a gun, pointing at him through the passenger window, and his last thought before he was shot was, "Oh no, it's Ralph Moat." And for that split second, he knew what was about to happen.
David had been horrifically injured. He'd been shot twice in the face. He was left blind there and then. It's not the done thing, is it, to shoot a police officer? There's a line there that people don't cross. For somebody to actively go out and hunt a police officer, it's so sick.
Leaving his third victim fighting for his life, Ralph Moat disappeared into the night amidst fears that his spree was far from over.
There was a real sense of concern that PC Rathband wasn't going to be the final victim.
Minutes later, an agitated Moat called Northumbria Police once more.
I've just told your officer that they're rolling over the west end of Newcastle. Yes. Well, absolutely not going to stop. You're going to have to kill me. Right. They're not going to stop.
He rang again, making it clear that he was responsible for shooting David Rathband, and again emphasising that he would be willing to shoot more police officers. He will come looking for us.
The gunman's behaviour was becoming increasingly irrational. Northumbria Police called an emergency press conference in an attempt to reach out to Moat.
You have told us that the police are not taking you seriously. I can assure you we are. I want you to know that you have our full attention. Innocent people have been hurt. This must stop now.
With one dead, two in a critical condition, and with clear intent to kill again, the elusive Moat needed to be caught before his killing spree claimed further victims.
We had no idea where he was. We had no idea where he was hiding out. And every inquiry that we made that was an attempt to secure his arrest was going to involve specialist firearms officers.
There was a major manhunt then which was launched, and it became apparent that it was a story that none of us had ever experienced before in our careers.
In the period when we didn't know where Ralph Moat was, there were armed police raids going on all over Tyneside, and it was moving all the time, but still there was no sign of Ralph Moat.
And I was completely terrified. That week the police were looking for him, and I just never went to bed. I slept on the settee for the full week. It was just terrifying.
Less than 24 hours after the shooting of PC Rathband, an unexpected twist emerged, and Moat's ruthless spree threatened to escalate further.
Late on a Sunday afternoon, was two separate reports, which suggested that he may have had hostages with him. And those were coming from the family of Carl Ness and the family of Korama Wan.
As is typical in a hostage situation, the police request to the media that we don't report that information because it may affect the safe recovery of the hostages.
The dynamic became very, very complicated because we had an obligation to those hostages to try and save their lives. That caused some issues in terms of how we proceeded with the manhunt.
The police were now aware that Moat was travelling in a black Lexus, and the net was closing in on him.
Yeah.
It made a distinctive engine noise. It was quite noisy. And when we appealed to the public to help us find that car, very, very quickly, it was identified in its location.
The public, and well, basically the press were all over it, and then all of a sudden he was just like a. It was not horror. Well, it was horrible, but it was like, what the hell's going on? But the media wasn't doing. Wasn't making it any better, because they were making it worse. They were basically getting all the information about Ramo, and that was a red rag to the bull, and you know what I mean. It was making him worse. So.
Was identified, and our focus moved from almost a Tyne and Weir conurbation to the rural countryside of Northumberland to Rothbury.
As the search moved into a new area, and with the lives of 2 hostages in his hands, the need to find Moat took on a new urgency. His savage spree was potentially spiralling out of control.
This man threatened to kill police officers. This man had already shot a police officer, and this man, as far as we knew, still had his gun.
"29 minutes past midnight, the 4th of July 2010. Raoul Moat called the emergency services and declared war on Northumbria Police.
I'm coming to get you. I'm not on the run. I am coming to get you.
Moments later, he ambushed traffic officer PC David Rathband as he sat in his patrol car, shooting him twice at point-blank range before vanishing into the night with 2 hostages. Police had released details of Moat's vehicle, a black Lexus, and sightings were quickly reported in the community of Rothbury. Less than an hour outside of Newcastle, this small market town sits in the rolling hills of Northumberland.
If you drive north from Newcastle, Rothbury's the first nice place you come to. It's everyone's idea of a little village in the hills.
It's quite quaint. Everybody knows everybody else. It's a really tight community. It's just a lovely, wonderful place, and it's just beautiful.
But Rothbury was about to become the focus of the world's attention.
Until the police car roared up the street, it was just an ordinary day, and I think the last thing we expected was to have anything to do with the whole Moat saga at all.
On the morning of the 6th of July, 3 days after Moat's spree had begun, the black Lexus was found abandoned in a local car park.
Just got to the office and I got a phone call to say Ramo's car's been found in Rothbury, get here now. I just thought, oh my God, this is big, this is huge, this is something that's never happened before in our paper's history.
The hunt for the gunman and his hostages intensified as police resources poured into the immediate area.
When it first started, If you look down here, you would have seen at least one policeman at any time. Full body armour, gun, the lot.
The manhunt would soon reach unprecedented levels, involving over 500 officers. A 2-mile exclusion zone was set up in the Rothbury area.
Anything that involved sighting or any arrest of Raoul Moat was going to involve the use of armed police officers. There was no other way to do it.
With the police on high alert for a potential hostage standoff, the story was about to take an unexpected turn.
Raoul Moat had already revealed that he had taken some hostages, but it became apparent as well that the police were unsure as to whether they were hostages or accomplices.
Carl Ness and Karam Awan were in fact in collusion with Moat. They had each delivered 2 messages to their families. One appeared to be a genuine hostage letter, but the second was a note explaining that they were actually in the safe hands of their friend, Raoul Moat. Their concerned families submitted these letters to the police.
While we were quickly trying to get our resources moved, Moat was able to melt into the countryside, whereas Ness and Awan tried to make their escape along the open road. The police helicopter was very quickly above them.
One police car drove past them with an officer in to possibly identify them. Once he did that, he radioed to colleagues who followed in a second police car unmarked to throw a thunder flash at their feet. This momentarily stunned them, and other officers came out and arrested them at gunpoint.
With Ness and Awan in custody, the full extent of their involvement in Moat's spree started to become clear.
Raoul Moat and Carl Ness were close friends, Awan less so, but they went with him on his exercise of revenge and murder. They drove him around on the night that he shot PC Rathband. Carl Ness was with him and drove him to Samantha Stobbart's house. So there's no doubt that they were fully involved.
Footage emerged that revealed the movements of Moat and his accomplices before and during his spree.
They're caught on CCTV, buying him things from Tesco and places. They even, to them it seemed like a bit of an adventure. They were buying barbecue sauce and all sorts of everyday items to help Moat.
But what led 2 men to assist Raoul Moat in his vengeful rampage?
He was highly manipulative. He was able to make people feel as if they were in the wrong, as if they'd wronged him, and that gave him leverage and purchase to get other people to do what he wanted them to do.
They were very unusual characters in this because they didn't seem to gain anything other than, in a way, looking up to Moat. They wanted to impress him. They were more than willing to help him carry out these horrific acts, and there was nothing in it for them.
Carl Ness, a bodybuilder and former nightclub doorman, had known Moat for several years, having also worked as a bouncer in Newcastle. During Moat's incarceration, Ness had been in regular contact with Moat through prison visits and telephone calls.
But one conversation was really interesting in that he asked Ness to get a particular individual to visit him while he was in prison, because he was an individual who could get him what he described was a car with 6 wheels.
Bit of a sleep earlier on.
And when we looked at the people involved,
Only an hour.
my only explanation for a car with 6 wheels is a gun and the associated ammunition.
Hey, 28, that's brilliant.
The 7th of July 2010,
Same old.
Rothbury, Northumberland. The day following the arrests of Awan and Ness.
And I'm not
With Moat
sure
still at large,
if
police
it's
discovered a
helping
makeshift campsite where
the
he'd been
side
hiding
effects.
out. Amongst the
There you go.
debris, a disturbing message from Moat was found, forcing the police to take urgent action.
The police called us all in for an emergency press conference and told us that they'd found a dictaphone that Moat had left in one of the places that he'd been camping out. On that, he gives details of the fact that he's been following the media coverage, that he'd been angered by it.
He was getting very, very agitated by the way he was being portrayed in the press. And he decided that, or he declared on that dictaphone, that for every lie that was told,
Hiya, Linda.
he would shoot an innocent member of the public.
Information has now emerged that Mr. Moat has made threats towards the wider public.
Fearing for public safety, a media blackout was imposed.
Police told us about this threat and the request to not publish the material that might upset Raoul Moat. When they explained the reason why, I think it was a collective draining of colour from faces, because none of us wanted to put anyone at any further risk than they already were at.
Nicole, Tara, Linda.
The 8th of July, 2 days after the arrest of Ness and Awan, and Moat was still on the run.
He no longer had a
Cat's
car.
fast asleep
he no
after
longer
a
had
treat.
access to money, or as far as anyone knew,
We
no
got
longer
a
had access
treat,
to the
Linda.
outside world. He wasn't in touch with
Thank
anybody
you.
else. So his ability to move
Yes,
around
we
had
did,
clearly
and I
been
got them
reduced.
for her.
But how was this former nightclub
chicken
bouncer
ones.
evading
Chicken
capture
and
in the Northumbrian wilderness?
liver.
Yeah.
He knew he had a love of Rothbury. He holidayed
she's fast asleep,
frequently
she's having a nap.
in Rothbury. He enjoyed camping. It was an area that was familiar to him.
We actually spoke to an ex-girlfriend of his who lived in the village. He used to go fishing there. He knew the area, so he knew what he was doing.
You always feel more comfortable in an environment that you're familiar with. You know, you can relax, get in tune, take stock and make a plan from there.
Despite the 2-mile exclusion zones set up by the police, the challenging terrain
already
provided
up,
Moat
Bob.
with plenty of opportunities to remain invisible.
Emma are favourite
It's quite
ones.
rugged terrain. There's lots of farms, there's lots of
ones.
fields. There's probably lots of places that you could hide out that a lot of people wouldn't know about.
If you look at the
Them are
amount
her
of
favourite
forest
ones.
round
She's
here,
already had one.
that's a great place to be straight away, because the helicopter can't see you, the police can't see you.
There's a mnemonic we use when we're looking at hides, and that mnemonic is bliss. And the B stands for blends. You've got to look at a place and you want to try and blend in with your natural environment. The L stands for low. When people are looking for you, there's
Yeah.
almost like a natural
He
tendency
said get
to
treats
just look
for
at
us,
eye
so we
level.
did.
The I is irregular.
Got 2 packets.
Make it irregular. Stay away from straight lines. The S is for small. Keep it small. Anything too big, and it's just going to jump out at you. And the last one, the second S, is secluded.
Once you get out of here, you are in the middle of nowhere. That's a good place to hide out. People aren't going to see you. There's nobody there to see you.
As the police search continued, with no reported sightings of Moat, tension in the Rothbury area was rising.
Yeah.
People were scared.
happy.
Everyone was conscious
happy.
that there was an armed and dangerous man on the loose.
Rumours were rife, and fears
not
were
surprised
growing
she's
that
had
the
a sleep,
gunman
'cause
could
she's been
even
up all
be
day.
living amongst
She
them.
normally naps,
There
doesn't she?
were rumours that Raoul
Been
had
awake
gone
all
into
day.
the centre of
It's
the
been
village
nice and
during the
sunny.
manhunt.
So she's
Just
been
over
in the
here is the
window
storm
being a
drain,
nosy cow.
where it's thought that Raoul was
Waiting
hiding
for
out.
me.
Waiting for you to come home.
People were
Yeah.
saying that there are storm drains that lead underneath the village, that you could go from remote area and actually end up coming up through a drain in the village.
So you can nip in the early hours of the morning and just become a scavenger. Scavenging in the bins, in allotments, greenhouses.
These are the gardens behind the wall where it's thought that Raoul was going in to steal vegetables and food.
Like the guy at the bottom of the village who found that his tomatoes were going missing.
I mean, there were different sightings, they were in different places. There was a house that he potentially went into and lay down on the bed because a resident had reported like an imprint of his head in their pillow.
As Moat continued to remain one step ahead of the police, local residents were becoming increasingly unnerved.
Well, I think there was a little moment of panic, because obviously when the police are telling you to get
Thank
in,
you,
lock the
Linda.
doors, stay away
Oh,
from
we
the
always
windows,
take
you're
it.
assuming there's going to be bullets flying all over the place.
No one quite knew how much ammunition or how many guns he had possession of. And there was a real
And
sense of
we
fear
always
throughout
tell her
the
that
area.
she
When
has a
public
fan
safety
base.
is your priority, the police had saturated Rothbury,
Yep.
so that in the event of any sighting or any confrontation between a member of the public and Moat,
Now you're hungry.
The police were on my heartbeat away.
Okay. Well, at least
At
you know we can get
7:25
flatbread
PM
now.
on the 9th of
Yeah.
July, 6
Yeah,
days
fine
after
then.
the vengeful
Yeah, fine then,
rampage
sure.
began,
I
a
was
member
with
of
you,
the public
what the
reported
hell?
sighting a man
Okay,
answering
We've still
Moat's
got loads of them
description
kebab skewers
on
left.
the
We have,
banks of
haven't
the
we?
river near the
Yeah.
centre of
So
Rothbury.
when I get the barbecue, I can do
As armed police descended, a
Kebabs.
standoff developed
Yeah.
with
as Moat
flatbreads.
raised the gun used
Yeah,
to
okay.
carry
Yeah,
out
good
his
son.
deadly spree.
Yeah.
But this time, the weapon was pointing at his own head.
It was his intention that it would end in that field in Rothbury that night.
Yeah, I'll do some barbecuing in the summer then.
At 2:40 a.m. on the 3rd of July
Go on,
2010, Raoul Moat embarked on a
Barbecue,
vengeful killing
obviously.
spree, leaving one
Charcoal
dead
and
and 2
petrol.
more critically wounded. Moat's car was finally found abandoned 3 days after his
Okay.
rampage began.
No,
in the
it's
quaint
not
Northumbrian
okay.
town of Rothbury.
That's what you put in think then.
I had to think then, I'm like, no.
7:25 p.m.
Petrol.
the 9th of July, Rothbury Riverside. Having evaded capture for a further 3 days, a member of the public reported sighting Moat on the banks of the River Coquette.
That's the other one.
Reports came through that he'd finally been cornered in an area on the edge of Rothbury town centre.
Press and public were immediately cleared from the area
Wait for that
as
clear
armed
cut to
police
dry.
descended
I'm
on the
doing the
scene.
front panel now.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your own safety, I need you to move back. Move back.
Ramote was just in front of the
Right,
tree
then.
over there.
Shouldn't be dear then,
Police
should
were kind of on this road here.
Being local, we knew straight away where it was, and we knew he wasn't going to get away.
He sunk to his knees, put the gun to his head,
What's that bit?
and the next final hours of Moat's life were played out on the riverbank.
What was what? That's
As
a
the
cop car.
standoff between police and Raoul Moat unfolded,
Oh,
the nation was
yeah.
captivated by rolling 24-hour news.
It's a toy.
It was a waiting game during the hours where there was a standoff between Moat and
Yes.
the police.
It was live on every news channel that there was.
And as journalists at the newspaper, all we could do was watch and wait.
Just being glued to the television at night and waiting for things to happen.
The whole world seemed to be transfixed on what was happening in Rothbury.
That whole process of getting him to surrender was happening, and it went on and on.
This is where the standoff took place. It was around this area here.
Yeah,
it's where Ramote
exactly.
was
That's the
with the gun
noise.
underneath
Yeah.
him.
Our armed officers, our negotiators were there for the long
Just
haul.
being on.
Behind the scenes, police had been
Smith.
analysing Moat's behaviour throughout the spree, preparing for every eventuality.
Because Moat had made contact with us a couple of times on telephone, there was always the likelihood that we were going to confront him face to face. So a team of negotiators had been working all week for that eventuality. They knew his background, they knew what made him tick, and they knew what annoyed him.
Hi, Alan.
Hey, up, lad. You alright? How are
He
you
spoke
doing?
emotionally about close relationships. He was immune to any requests that they made of him.
And start trying to persuade him that killing himself was not the only option.
After 6 hours of negotiation, the mood of the stalemate changed as Moat became increasingly agitated.
Couldn't really see what was happening, but you could hear that there was a commotion.
At that point, it was clear to everybody present that he had made his mind up, that he was ready to finish the whole episode.
The police attempted to incapacitate Moat with a shotgun-style taser.
At about 1:15 in the morning, about 6 hours now after the standoff had started, there were a couple of sounds which clearly sounded like gunshots, and there were a couple of shouts.
It wasn't quite clear at that point. As the
It's
story
going,
broke
it's going
as to
really
what,
badly.
What had happened? Was it Moat committing suicide? Was it the police
Jigsaw.
trying to take action?
At approximately
Yeah,
1:15
it's not
a.m.,
easy, this one.
almost immediately after the police tasers were discharged, Raoul Moat fired the final shot of his killing spree.
Shortly after, an ambulance crew took him to Newcastle General Infirmary, and shortly after his arrival there, it became known that he was actually dead, and he'd taken his own life with the shotgun that he'd had with him throughout that week.
After the biggest British manhunt of a generation, involving over 500 police officers and costing Northumbria Police in excess of £1 million, Raoul Moat's ruthless rampage was finally over.
I only try to help you.
It had come to a point where he didn't have anything. And when you get to that point, when you start feeling like
Are you trying to help?
there's really only one way it's going to end.
And he had actually said to the negotiators that it was his intention that it would end in that field in Rothbury that night.
Once you come out of an environment like this, particularly on your own, it gives you a lot of time to self-reflect. Come the end of it, I think because he'd been out for 3 days in a while, I think he'd kind of thought hard about what he's done and who he's let down, including himself.
See you later, Linda.
And, I think that's
Take
why
care,
he did
man.
the
There
way he
you
did.
go,
I think
love.
he'd finally come to it, and he'd
Some groceries.
He just hit the point of no return.
In the wake of Moat's bloody
Okay,
violence,
Linda,
one
there
question
you go,
remained.
lots of love.
What drove the former bouncer and bodybuilder to commit these terrible crimes?
Moat was an individual who could not cope with all of the things that were happening to him that were going wrong. And there often tends to be a triggering event, something that happens in the immediacy that they can't cope with, that tends to push them over the edge.
Jealousy, pure jealousy, that I think he's done it. Jealousy that he couldn't have Samantha, so he's going to make sure nobody else had her.
He couldn't change his situation with Stobart. There was nothing he could do to win her back. She'd replaced him with what he was fearful of was a better man.
He didn't want to go quietly. He thought, if I'm going to lose everything, I want everyone to know that. I want to get revenge on the people that have wronged me, but also I don't want them to forget me. I'm not just going to walk away. I'm going to make people notice me.
And that's the key hallmark of spree killers with narcissistic backgrounds. They blame everybody else, they blame society, they blame the authorities, and other people need to be made to pay.
The 29th of February 2012, 19 months after the devastating spree. Having been shot and blinded by Raoul Moat, PC David Rathband took his own life at his home in Blythe, Northumberland.
David is gone. I miss my friend. I still can't quite bring myself to delete his number off of my phone. It's still there.
Would David Rathband have taken his own life had he not been blinded by Raoul Moat? I personally doubt it very much. Samantha Stobart still bears the scars, and I'm sure she probably finds it difficult to move on.
You know what they do Cadbury's cream eggs? Never guess what I
Christopher
found?
Brown lost his life.
Terry's chocolate orange cream egg.
Christopher's mum, Sally, feels like her son is the forgotten one here.
We don't want Monday.
And I tend to agree with.
On the 11th of March 2011, Moat's accomplices, Carl Ness and Karama Wan, were convicted of the attempted murder of PC David Rathband and conspiracy to murder police officers. Ness was also convicted of the murder of Christopher Brown.
When you look at Carl Ness, who was given a 40-year life sentence, and Awan, who was given 20-year life sentences, you think, what would Moat have got? And I think I'd rather see him accounting for his criminality, for the deaths of Christopher and David. I'd rather see him accounting for them in prison rather than taking the easy route, which he did, which was cowardly.
3 degrees out there, yeah, right, okay.
You shouldn't blend the pit.
No.
He was a nice guy. He didn't have murder.
Mm-hmm.
I can't understand you. I ask you to start filming from the feet slowly up to the head. And you go sit for sit pan. Bloody hell, don't you ever watch movies? You must see thousands of movies. You must know what it's like. They're training chimpanzees at Cape Canaveral to operate a camera. Anybody can do it.
These are the home movies of a murderer.
Can you go back a bit? I mean, you're far too near.
A man who in the 1980s would be uncovered as the most prolific serial killer in British history.
And you ain't seen nothing yet.
A civil servant whose extraordinary behaviour would see him named with cruel irony, the kindly killer.
Batteries had run out. That's why the camera went up the creek. Okay, fair enough. If you think you know how to use it, all you do is point it down and press a button.
But was this murderer of young men driven by nature or nurture? Was the kindly killer born to kill?
Started to work on. With me, I broke my femur and I fractured my wrist, and I had a big cyst on my wrist, which I had to have surgery on. So yeah, but my main one was I broke my femur, my left femur. Now that was back in 1999. And I'm still not allowed to take the bloody thing out because it'll lead to another breakage apparently. So yeah, this is what I've been working on. as you can see, I'm doing them in rows. So this is the bag I'm working on. It's a latch hook. It's latch hooking with one of these. Just about see it. Yeah, alright, Gary. What do you know about that, huh? No, it's gonna be a bag. It will take a while, but it will get there. Daft git. It will take a while, but it will get there. He's being silly.
I found my dad's porno stash. He looks like one of the women out of there. Let's have a feel of it.
That's what we do here, Nicole. We have a laugh.
Give us your muff.
No,
Look at that. Ooh. Can you make it more triangle shaped?
No, I'm not making it a triangle shaped bloody thing. It's gonna be a square. Little bit of cheeky git. Oh, bollock bum.
I'll get it after. Not going anywhere. Cat's gone. Cat's fast asleep.
Good. It was a hook I need. Aha! He's a little bugger.
So what's it going to be? A bag?
Yes.
And we call it shag bag?
No.
Why not?
Oh my good God.
I'm going to wait till you finished it and shave it.
Oh my God.
I'll get the fucking hair clippers on it.
Sorry, he's alright. He's just messing about. Nah.
I said you was my appendix, but broke both my legs at different times. So I'm not opposite resting before I go on the bedpost.
What, from laughing? That's a good thing.
Oh.
Leave it alone. That bugger. Oh my God. What's he? OMG. Hang on. I got a dead foot. Dead foot. Well, at least I'm slowly getting the boats done. I've done one part of it, which is this side. It's just, yeah. It's all over the place at the moment. I need to stand up for a minute. My foot has gone to sleep. Found it. It's over here. See, I have to use this one to poke at the hole. Well then. Life throws at you in many ways. I'm just hoping for the better. That this year will be a better year. I mean, it hasn't been so far, but things can change. You are what you make. Oh, dear me. Roller coaster. Life is a roller coaster. Just gotta fight it. Oh, it's that away. It must be on that side then. There's something strange you never heard. No, we don't. No. we try to forget about them. About that. Do, 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 do. No, at the end of the day, it's just another year. But I am looking forward to having a good summer. And hopefully I'll be able to go out a bit more. Numb from walking? Yeah, it's starting to get nice here. It's not. It has gone a bit chilly during the evening times, but it has been warmed up a little bit. And there are a couple of days that you didn't have to wear a bleeding hat. Nervous, caught in a pain. Oh, ouchie, ouch. That's not good. I'm glad that it's slowly warming up, because when it's cold, my left leg locks up sometimes. And that's why I have to have 2 lots of trousers on. Just to keep my left leg bloody warm. I have a pin about that long in length, pin, and it's from my hip to almost to my knee, but there is a big gap about that big from my knee to my thigh, you know, where it is. So yeah, that's not easy when it's cold. Yeah, I'd say it's about this inch, 6 or maybe 8, 9, something like that. It bloody hurts when it locks itself though. So I'm looking for a little bit of warmer weather. another thing. Hey, another thing. Oh yeah, Erin. Another thing that I'm looking forward to is being out in the garden. And that's what I'm looking forward to. Working on the gardens. And that starts back up soon. My dear Erin. Good to see ya. No, I wasn't going to pick up that one, it was that one. I was going to pick up on. There we go. No, there's no limit. Yeah, I'm going through another day, another dollar. Yeah, I kind of. This one is not easy, this puzzle. I think this is harder than the ones that I've have done, to be honest. So that's why it's taking a bit longer than usual. But I'm in no rush. There's no rush. Okie dokie. Pick it up, okie. I have to do a new album. I really do. Yes, Richie Abs, Sean, Scott, and Jay, they're all back. But there's only been 3 of them, because there's been a feud. But they must have sorted out their differences now, I'm guessing. So, yay! No limit, no reach for the sky. Do what you want, do it to hide. Nope. Yeah, that and A1 were my most childhood boy band favourites. And will always be. That should go there then. No, 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 you don't know me, I know. Oh, that's over the other side of the bridge. No, da, 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 da. Matters to do, no matters to have. Do 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 do. Do da 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 dee 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 dee. Oh, I thought it was worm. It was one of them. Already? Wow. Time flies when you're having fun. I'll try a bit more on it in another day.
Yeah, that's hot enough. Yeah. Off she goes. Didn't realise that was the time.
No, I did a bit more.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
easy.
Yeah, I've just been pricing fans up. They ain't cheap.
I bet they're not. Right, I am going to call it now, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you guys later on for some games. Lots of love to you all. Take care of yourselves. See you later, everybody. Bye. Bye-bye.